Beyond bit. Janssen! And Blackburn Rovers are 18 minutes away from a Premiership return.
As far as Stewart, just outside the penalty area, clips it central for David Dunn. David Dunn equalises. It just had to be. Dax corner and it goes. Glance towards goal, and Rovers have taken the lead. And Charlie Mulgrew has scored his 14th of the season.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are watching from, Rovers fans, and welcome back to another instalment of Breakfast with Rovers Chat. I'm Ollie Walker-Peel, and today we'll be going through all things Rovers, talking about what's been going on in the past week or so, and it's great to have you here alongside me. Quick bit of housekeeping, of course, as always. Got to mention the sponsors, the brilliant sponsors of Blue Rose Capital. And of course, 6yardsout.com. Couple of things to mention also before we dip into the to the show. Of course, we have got a podcast that's just come out, recorded with former Blackburn Rovers striker and current Huddersfield Town striker Jordan Rhodes. So here's a little excerpt from that now.
Jordan Rhodes here. You can check out my podcast with Rovers Chat on Friday the 3rd of September.
So it's on the way. It's on the way, that is, and I can't wait. It's going to be absolutely brilliant, this podcast is. Get yourself strapped in. Obviously, a message from Jordan Rhodes there. He was brilliant for Rovers, wasn't he? He was absolutely brilliant, so I can't wait for that one. I'll definitely be watching that one myself. Something else I'll be watching will be the Rovers Chat Deadline Day stream. Obviously, on Deadline Day, transfer window winding down. But this is going to be an absolutely brilliant one, I should think. Live from about 8:30 p.m. Live guests including, of course, Jacob Crook from Lancs Live. So make sure you are tuning in as the transfer window slams shut. Still a few deals in the work, as we're being told, for Rovers. I think Mowbray wants a couple more over the line. So make sure you are watching that one. And of course, Rovers Chat are finalists in the Football Content Awards for the Best Club Creator in the Football League. So make sure if you haven't voted for us yet, go down into the description and do so. There should be a link there for you. Right, now all that's out of the way, we can get in, of course, to the podcast. We'll go into the comments very quickly. Jacob says, morning, everybody. Morning to you, mate. Chris Hayes with a good morning, Rovers fans. The inner Ryan Hildred coming out there from Chris, which is brilliant to see. Lucas says, morning. Jake says, you've switched positions. I say, yes, I'm in the next room across. So I'm in a new room today. I've moved rooms. Still got the Rovers flag in the background. But yeah, I did the watch along in here on Saturday night. It's a pretty cozy room. I don't mind it. So it's pretty decent. Jacob says he's got some good transfer news. I'm actually going to save that comment that you put underneath that. And we'll talk about that in a little bit more detail later on when we do go on to transfers. And also that one from Lucas as well. So we're going to hold the transfer news for now. One final thing, if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, make sure you do that as well. And then we will obviously get into that Rovers, into the content. Drop a like for us too. Would be greatly appreciated if you could do that. Also, right, let's go into the game against Millwall then. From, not Millwall, sorry. The game against Middlesbrough, rather, from the weekend. Obviously, a 1-1 draw. Sam Gallagher got Rovers away with a brilliant goal. Absolute thunderbolt from just outside the area before Johnny Howson pegged us back. Really poor defending from Rovers, it must be said. Delicate little chip over Thomas Kaminski. Brought the northeast side level. But at the end of the day, it's a really good point for Rovers, I think. Obviously, away from home will take it. Still unbeaten. Away from home, so the small wins, I suppose. I don't really think we created too much outside of the goal. It was a brilliant goal, nice assist from Ian Pervader, of course, who made his first Rovers appearance against Middlesbrough. So I think he's one we've got to look forward to. Of course, obviously, we didn't really mention him on the last podcast, so we'll go over that in a bit. But just in terms of the match, he did some nice stuff. Didn't quite see the best of him, I didn't think, but I think there is, a lot of room for improvement. Obviously, he's getting settled into a new side. So, of course, he's got to take that time to acclimatise into a new team. But once he does so, then then look, I think he'll be a quality player for us throughout the season. Jacob said their goal looked offside. It looked close, but at the end of the day, you've seen them given, you've seen them not, haven't you? Maybe if VAR was in the Championship, but maybe that one would have been ruled out. But I'd rather, as bad as it was, I'd rather VAR not be in the Championship, and we see those ones, given the VAR be in the Championship. To be fair, so there you go. Jacob says, give him time. Completely agree. I don't think too many fans were slating Pervader at full time anyway. Neither should they be. I think you do have to give him a little bit of time, and I'm fine to give him time because, of course, he's a new player in a new team. So I'm fine for that. Donald says, good morning from Johannesburg, South Africa. Good morning to you too, mate. I'm actually not sure what the time zone difference is in South Africa, so I'm not sure if it is morning back there, but good day to you, of course. Great to have you here, as always. Jake, I know what you're doing. Jacob, I know what you're doing. You're not going to catch me out with that one. But good effort, but you're not going to get me there. But in terms of other players who I think did decent, I thought Daniel Ayala was okay. Again, thought he played all right. We weren't too strong in the midfield. I think Middlesbrough were able to win the ball in midfield and overpower us there. And I think that's where most of their attack started. They were able to spray the ball out wide to the likes of Dijksteel and Isaiah Jones, who I both thought were brilliant for Middlesbrough. But I thought Ayala was okay. Gallagher obviously getting the goal was brilliant to see. Hayden Carter was quite unlucky. I thought that the red card was the correct decision. Obviously, being a second yellow, I don't think you can send a player off for that. The referee didn't directly, but I think that was definitely a yellow card. And as he'd been booked before, I think the only thing that the referee could have done was give him his marching orders. Sam Morsey's one was a definite red. I was speaking to Rory, who was on the watch along, in the comments. He's a massive Middlesbrough fan, and he said there wasn't too much in it. I don't know what he's what game he was watching. I mean, he wasn't watching it, but what vision he saw, because that was definitely a red card in my opinion. Tyler McGlaw just, it was too high on him, and gladly Tyler McGlaw got up and continued. So that was good to see. No new injury news either from that game, which is class. But Rose fans in the comments, let me know what you thought of the game. I think it's a decent point. Obviously, only the one loss this season. Oh, he's not going to like that one, but I'll throw it up anyway. He's really not going to like that one, but no, he's a good lad, is Rory, but I don't know how you can not think that's a red card. I think it's a decent point. 100% I'll take it. And Ben Foster, the cycling GK, I'm pretty sure there's a capital in the other one. To be fair, he did raid, or he was on another live stream that we did. I'm pretty sure there's a capital in the real account. I'm just going to check real quick because I don't want to have my hopes up just to be killed again. But if it is the real Ben Foster, then that will be quality. I mean, if the capital, I don't even know if that matters. If it is actually the cycling GK, I'd be buzzing, but I'm not too sure. Ben, if it is actually you, please, comment again just to verify, because that would be quality. It was in the an FPL Addict stream that I did, and it was another Ben Foster account. I'm assuming it was him. He was there. He put a comment in, so could be 2 from 2 for me. That would be quite nice. But Ben Foster, absolutely quality to see him in the comments. A few people, bit of fanfare there, which is nice. It's 9:37. Our side says Donald. So good morning to you. Thanks for confirming that it is morning. Good morning to you, mate. But yeah, in terms of Rovers, I'll take the point. And I think we do move on. In terms of the ladies' side, they also played yesterday. They started their league season with a win, 2-0 over Sheffield United. Would have been nice to have somewhere to watch this game, and if there was, I couldn't find anything. So, if there is, if Rovers could do something, then that would be good, so we can watch the ladies team play. They've got their season off to a good start. I think there's one game still to play. I think it's Lewis and Charlton, I think. But at the moment, we are currently top of the league. So if the season could end now, that would be nice. But yeah, great start for Rovers women's team. The goals from Chloe Dixon and Amy Hodgson within 10 minutes of each other, or about 10 minutes of each other, as Rovers got off to a 2-0 win. So that was obviously good to see. Like I say, it would be nice to have more coverage of the ladies' team. But following the game on Twitter as I was able to do, that was good. But I suppose we follow it how we do and we move forward. Jake says, shame we can't click on the account and see what it is. And Jacob's disappointed in the pie face and Mark's awful. To be fair, it could actually still be them, but maybe they just didn't reply. I don't know. It could still be them. I'm holding out hope, and I'm holding out hope that this is the real Ben Foster. Ben does have another account, L. No, that is his account. He does have an account called the Cycling GK. But yeah, who knows? Anyway, even if it isn't him, if it is him, it is what it is. But it's weird that Ben Foster's account come up on two of my live streams now for two different channels. So there you go. It is, mate. He says, "Is there any way to prove? Is there any way to prove that it's you? Is there any way to prove? Is there any way to like?" This is gonna be weird. If it is you, could you send me a message on Twitter? I'll put my Twitter on screen. I'm gonna be greedy, but I've got my hopes up too much with the last one that I don't want to get my hopes up again for them to be killed again. So my Twitter's on screen. This is really, really greedy of me. This is my Twitter coming up here. So if it is the actual Ben Foster, could you please send me a message here just to prove it? There's the banner there. If it says it isn't him, but if it is, and even if it's not you give me a follow over there on Twitter. Collaboration tomorrow. That's what Mark Goldbridge and Pieface said, and I'm not sure about how that's going. But you can follow me on Twitter there as well. So yeah, who knows? But if it is the actual Ben Foster, please send me a message there just so I can prove that it is. I don't fancy getting my hopes up again and getting them killed. So yeah, there we go. But yeah, nice to see that two positive results for Rovers. One on the men's side, one on the ladies' side. And yeah, so good starts to the season for both. Of course, in terms of other things to discuss, we do have to discuss the transfer stuff, obviously, because obviously with the window coming to a close very, very soon, obviously that's the topic of discussion at the moment. So let's see what there is to discuss. I could go with the old deadline day theme, but I'm not going to. If I bring that back up there, the overlay again. What for getting relegated, Ben? That one's a little bit harsh, but there you go. But yeah, let's have a look at the transfer stuff. Obviously, since we last had a show on Rovers Chat, Breakfast with the Rovers Chat, we did sign Ian Poveda from Leeds. We've talked about him already and how he looked promising on his Rovers debut. And since then, last night, I wasn't expecting a signing, but we got one. Jan-Paul van Heck from Brighton on loan, Premier League centre-half. Obviously, with the suspension with Hayden Carter short-term, we're going to need some more depth in defence. And also long-term, it could also help us. He doesn't start in the back four for me because I think Ayala and Lenihan, as well as they've been playing, then you don't get rid of them. But maybe in a back five, potentially, you could go in as a third centre-half. Heck of a signing. I know it's been used too much. I mean, it's an easy punt to make, isn't it? Hopefully he's a heck of a player. It would be good, obviously, if he plays well and maybe powers us up the table. Then who knows? But yeah, it could be a decent signing for us. Let's see if he gets out on the park. I don't know what squad number he's wearing. It would be nice to know that too. But good to see that we are utilising that loan market. There has been a few sceptical fans saying that maybe we should be developing our own players and not looking towards Premier League talent. But if the Premier League talent, if they're coming in on loan and they're better than what we've already got, that could only one, that can help us up the table, and two, also develop our players that we already have as well and make them better. And it also helps us maybe send those players out on loans, like Tyler McGlaw, Hayden Carter. I don't think Hayden Carter should go out on loan, but maybe like Louis Annasley potentially could go out on loan. We'll speak a bit more about him later in the international section because there are obviously internationals coming up. He's highly rated, I think. Yeah, he is. And I think that's the thing. If you can use a loan market, go and use it. We saw last season with Harvey Elliott, I know a completely different position, but Taylor Howard-Bellis, centre-half, Tosin Adebayo, centre-half. They both did incredibly well at Rovers, and sure, they're not our players long-term, but if they're going to help us this season go up the table, then who knows? But yeah, I think it's a good signing for us. And we will go back to your comment, Jacob. I did say I was going to save it. So I'll go back up to that now. Where is it? I think I've lost it. Preparing a bid for an Italian striker. Who is it? Tell us who it is. You didn't tell us a position. So if you could tell us a position, that would be nice. And Lucas says, isn't Kadra being announced today? I've heard. I didn't hear anything about Kadra being announced today. But then again, I didn't hear about anything about Van Heck being announced yesterday. So maybe he is being announced. Not too sure. But yeah, I think that's my dad in the background there. I might close this blind. I didn't realise that was going to be an issue. But yeah, obviously he was on the stream last night. On Saturday night, sorry, I should say. But obviously, you said you liked him on there. You liked him on the old stream, so I didn't realize he was in there. Can I just pull this down? That's not going to work. But yeah, Conor McBride is going to Doncaster. Heard he was travelling up there today. Who was travelling up there? Was it this? Oh, this wasn't the Italian striker. This was Doncaster. But yeah, Conor McBride obviously scored in pre-season. He looked positive, so maybe he could be one that could go out on loan, get some experience. I think long term he will be in the Rovers squad. Eventually, we do have to get some game time into him. He's not played English football at a senior level just yet. Outside of friendlies, obviously he's played at likes of Stenhousemuir in Scotland, and he's played in this Celtic youth teams. But getting him acclimatised to English football would be nice. But yeah, obviously I think that could be a decent loan spell. Hope the striker isn't a stinker. Hope so too. What else have we got here? Balotelli worth a shout. Not quite. I don't think he'd come to Rovers. I'd take him, but I don't think he'll be on his way. Just go get the stuff off Twitter, all right? No worries at all. Show me out getting Morata. You lot, I tell you what, these are, finances at the club aren't going to allow this, lads. I tell you what, it's not going to happen. But again, highly rated Rovers players that could be on for a shout potentially. But I suppose who knows? Got no message from that Ben Foster account on Twitter, so I'm going to assume it's not him. That's kind of sad. Can't believe people are trying to prank me. Like, why would you do that? Why would you prank someone being a fake Ben Foster account? Unless it is actually him, but there's no way to prove that. So it's quite demoralising seeing that because you do get your hopes up, and then you realise that it might not actually be them, and it's quite disappointing. But I don't know. I've seen links with Rovers to Siriki Dembele as well from Peterborough. I thought I might bring up, and Luke Jeffcott from Plymouth. There'll be about £3 to £5 million. It's quite a bit of money, but I'm not sure if we'll splash that out. Potentially we could. It would be nice to see. Obviously we haven't spent that money since Ben Brereton before he was Diaz. Obviously when he moved for about £7 million. But it would be nice to see us bring in a striker. If we can make a cash signing, that would be brilliant. Try and get us up the league. Obviously, great start. Obviously, in terms of football, August is over for Rovers. Only the one loss against West Brom, who are probably going to be at the top of the league. So no shame in that. I don't think anyway. So we did say we would move on to talk a little about Louis Annasley earlier on, and that's because he has been selected for Gibraltar in the internationals. Obviously, Gibraltar not the greatest footballing nation, to be fair, but he does play consistently for them, which is obviously good to see. Obviously, he's played against some good players before. I remember watching a game when they played against Norway, I think, and he was up against Erling Haaland. They did get battered in that game, but I suppose what can you do? They've actually got Norway again, as I mentioned, over this international break. They start off with a game against Latvia on the 1st of September, then Turkey at home on the 4th, and then Norway away on the 7th of September. In terms of other players that have gone, Thomas Kaminski, I don't think he'll get much game time for Belgium, but he has linked up with the squad. It's obviously brilliant for him. They've got Estonia away on the 2nd, Czech Republic on the 5th at home, and Belarus away on the 8th. And then also, this one was absolutely brilliant. This was one I wasn't expecting, but Leighton Clarkson, a mate of mine, obviously good childhood friends, he's been selected for the England under-20 team. They've got a game against Romania at St George's Park, so he's in the running to feature there. That would be his first cap at any level for any youth team, so that's brilliant for him. I think there's someone I'm forgetting. I think there's a 4th player. I think I've named 3. But yeah, definitely good for Rovers to have those international players going out and playing for them. But let me know, Rovers fans, what do you think about those first 3? Belgian main team or as a junior team. He's like 27, mate. It's the main team. Don't worry. He'll probably go third or fourth choice keeper. But he's definitely the senior team for. I was forgetting someone. I knew I was Jack Vale. Who's playing? I think it's one of the youth Welsh teams. So Jack Vale's also going out there. Obviously, we saw him late in the 1920 season. Came on as Reading and did really well. Not since then, but hopefully he gets out there and get some game time on loan. I think he should go out on loan. Afternoon, Ollie says Rory. I've seen the tackle again, and it is a red. All right, let's bring up the earlier comment. Someone was calling you blind. Yeah, Jacob was calling you blind. I did mention you before, mate. But do you have a right of reply? Can we give him a right of reply? I'm not sure, but there you go, Rory. Good to have you here as always. You can have a few overage players. Sorry, you can. Of course, you can. I didn't make that one clear, but no, it is the senior side. It will be going as a third or fourth choice keeper. Can't find it now. That's all right. Hopefully, we find something later on Twitter, maybe for potential rumours, but there you go. No need to apologise. I'm sure he'll take it well. If I'm relaying it, then we're all saying it in jest. It's all good. It's all a bit of banter. Right, let's have another look. What else are we seeing? This was in relation to Ben Foster. At least it isn't someone pretending to be one of those Grealish simps. I mean, each their own, I suppose. Jeff Cott is too inconsistent. Sometimes gets 10 in 10 and then doesn't score for 20 games. I mean, at least he's scoring 10 goals. We're hoping that Brio and Galley will get double figures, and they're both on track to do so. But I'd say, 10, 15 from someone like Jeff Cott if he was to come in. I have to see if that one happens. Where's Alton Penkridge? There's Jake. I don't know where he is. I'm not a clue. He usually is here, isn't he? He's one of the most brilliant Rovers chat fans that we have, and it's obviously great to have him as always. But he's not here as of yet. Someone else I have to give a shout out to. They did want a shout out on the watch along, but I saw it after I went off air. Ben Blandford, it was his birthday at the weekend, watches me all the time. He says, could he have a shout out? So sorry, it's a bit late. It's a bit of a belated one. But there you go. So happy birthday to you, mate. Jacob says, all banter G. You guys were lucky with the result of the weekend. I tend to agree somewhat. Obviously, it was a great goal, but I think if any side were going to go on to win it, it would have been Borough. But thank goodness that they didn't. Dizzy Thumbs, welcome to you, mate. Good evening to you, mate. Is Rothwell staying? I'm not too sure. Obviously, there was rumours earlier on in the window that he'd maybe go into somewhere like Brentford. But that one's gone quiet. So I think he probably will stay, but not too sure. And we've got Denver saying Jack Vale under 21s, Wales. So yeah, that was one we did mention before. So that's it on the international front. It will be interesting to see if we do get any more transfer rumours. I think we could do with potentially another striker. Jacob saying Joe won't sign a contract. He might not, but they probably won't leave this early. They probably won't leave for this window, I wouldn't think, unless mid-table to low-table Premier League side come in and maybe turn Rovers' heads with an offer they can't refuse. I doubt he'll go though. Is Rothwell Championship level or higher? Well, at his best, he is, definitely. I think at his best, he's a low-level Premier League player. But he just doesn't show it often enough for me. He's a bit inconsistent. At his best, like Nottingham Forest, that goal at Nottingham Forest, the goal, I think it was Brentford a couple of seasons ago. No, it wasn't Brentford. Who was it? He scored a really good goal against someone a couple of years ago. Can't remember. But when he's doing that, I mean, he scored a good one against Sheffield Wednesday, I know, last season on Boxing Day. If he showed that all of the time, I think he'd be a mid-table Premier League player, but sometimes he plays like a mid-table Championship, sometimes he plays like a mid-table Premier League. So if someone can get that out of him, his potential, I think he can play at Premier League football, but it just depends to see if he can. Jake says, do you plan to live your life in England or Australia? I'm not too sure. I've thought about that a lot, but at the moment I'm still in Oz, but I don't know if I'm going to move back. Obviously, with sport and journalism and commentary, as I plan to do, the sport or the football's a lot better in England, so who knows? Who knows? Any other comments do we reckon before we start to maybe wrap this one up? I will probably do so in a few minutes' time. Another good stream again. A lot of fun, as always. I think there's a few things we could mention before we do head off. we'll obviously wrap everything up again. I'm going to play. I know there's a lot of people joined us since the start of the stream, so we did mention a teaser for the the Jordan Rhodes podcast that will be coming up in just a few days' time. He's going to talk about all the managers we had from Appleton to Bowyer and the like. He's going to talk about his goals in the derby matches against Burnley, of course, which will be fun to talk about, and everything else Rovers. So I'm going to play that one again. Here's a teaser for the Jordan Rhodes podcast coming out in a couple of days.
Jordan Rhodes here. You can check out my podcast with Rovers Chat on Friday the 3rd of September.
What a man Jordan Rhodes is. Make sure to catch that when it does come out in a few days' time. Alexander Haben, welcome to you, mate. Seems like Rothwell is playing defensive midfield for us now. Definitely playing a bit deeper than he was earlier on in his Rovers career, but it's a bit interesting, that one. With the midfield setup that we're trying to go with, with Leighton Clarkson coming in, he's played a bit of a, false nine or even as a number 10. That's not his usual position. So we have a lot of talented midfield. So even John Buckley dropped to the bench at the weekend. So it's a position that even with the likes of Corey Evans and Stuart Downing and Lewis Holtby departing the club, we'd have a lot of midfielders still. So who really knows? It's going to be an interesting one to see how that one plays out, though. Also, I think one transfer thing before we move on. Thomas Kaminski. Denver just pops up with a comment. As soon as I say Thomas Kaminski, I was going to talk about it. I was going to talk about how he's had potential interest away from the club. Mowbray has come out and said he doesn't want to sell. Neither should he. Got 1 year on his contract with an option of another year. I think we've got to take that. We rate Kaminski highly, and so do I. His class, but he's not kept a clean sheet for a few days now. Thoughts? You just got to look at the goals he's conceded. The Swansea one, he was probably at fault, so you've got a fair point there. The Middlesbrough one, he can do nothing about, really. That was a long ball, poor defending. He probably wasn't expecting to have the ball come through that quickly, so he doesn't have enough time to get back on his line. Just got lobbed. You could say potentially poor positioning, but I don't think so. The Forest goal, that was a great strike from Zinkernagel. Nothing he can do there. And the West Brom goals, absolutely nothing you can do there either, especially with Mowat. So, no, he's a brilliant goalkeeper. I mean, if you've got to watch the Swansea game, surely. He made like 7 or 8 world-class saves to keep us in it. So there you go. Alexander Habe said he was miles offside. Which goal? Middlesbrough? I'm assuming you mean Middlesbrough because we had a comment about that before. But, yeah, there we go. I saw it. I thought he might have been just off or level. It looked close, but obviously some linesmen don't call them. So, it was poor defending. You've got to look at the defending more than the call. But bit unlucky there. Potentially. Kaminski's amazing. Honestly, at Ewood against West Brom. Did I say Swansea before? I did say Swansea before. West Brom. I meant West Brom. Would have had 5 or 6, no doubt. Yeah, he was brilliant that game. Honestly, he made 7 or 8 unbelievable saves to keep us in it. But no, he's probably the best keeper since Robinson, maybe, or Friedel, Paul Robinson or Friedel. I think Kaminski's been brilliant. He's been in a position that we have struggled to have some sort of long-term longevity in. Obviously, the likes of Jason Steele. And here's Alton Penkridge. We were asking about you before, mate. Welcome to you. Kaminski's very good. I agree. But no, he's the best keeper that I've seen in a long time at Rovers. And he's really inserted some long-term longevity, as I say. Into that position, we had the likes of Jason Steele, who weren't brilliant. Christian Walton, who was on loan. So, it's nice to have someone in that position who is going to turn up. He ain't no Christian Walton. I mean, to be fair, he did make a couple of good saves in his time at Rovers, but he was a bit inconsistent. I remember a game against Hull where he saved the penalty when we won away 1-0. Derek Williams with a header. But, I had a decent game there too. And obviously, David Raya, he should have had some long-term longevity in the team, but we obviously sold him, and now he's playing Premier League football. So hopefully we don't sell Kaminski and make that same mistake. And if we do sell him, we get what he's worth, because I don't think we should be able to undervalue him. He's crucial to our club and critical to us going forward. So if we do sell Kaminski, it's got to be a decent offer, or else we don't want to get ripped off again. Personally, I think he could have done a bit better for Forest goal. How is my question? Obviously, goalkeepers say you should never be beaten at your front post. And that's probably fair, but there are exceptions to that rule, and I think Zinkernagel's goal is an exception. That was a belter from like 25 yards. You can't blame Kaminski for that. That's just a good strike. Jacobs, just don't talk about that idiot. He threw away Preston away. I think we just don't mention that game in general. I was buzzing when we went 2-0 up there. And we bottled it to Preston of all teams. So that's a game that I do want to erase from my memory, but I don't think I'll be able to do so. I think it was Barkhausen who scored a wonder goal at game 2 for Preston. And I remember going to school the next day, and my mates had never heard of this guy, but obviously knew that I support Rovers and took the mickey out of me for it. But it was a great goal, to be fair. Hopefully we can turn Preston over this season. Obviously we did away last season, didn't we? 1-3-0, but then lost to them at Ewood, which didn't help. But yeah, they got a good win at the weekend as well, to be fair. I mean, any win's a good win for Preston, to be honest. But they had a decent win over the weekend. We think they're going to be down there probably this season. They beat Swansea 3-1. Swansea look a shadow of their former side, but there you go. Rhodes, my first heartbreak when he left. Got to watch that one live. Been all the home games, Kaminski's class. Just clarifying, I don't think he's bad. No, I don't think you do. But he's a good player. He's a really good player, Kaminski. But fair question to ask. I remember when Rhodes left to Middlesbrough, of course, and like I said, I went to school the next day, and I assumed Rory would know. Is that my Alexa going crazy? What's happening there? And Rory thought that the transfer had fallen through, and I'm like, no, mate, he's gone. He's gone. Like, that's it. I'm sad, and you should be buzzing. And he was buzzing when I told him, and I wasn't, because obviously Rhodes was brilliant for us, and when he left, it was really, really annoying. Obviously we had Armour since that have filled his goal-scoring boots, but hopefully we find a striker that can do something similar. It's hard to replicate what both of those strikers have done, but Rhodes, my days, what a player he was for Rovers. I think we will wrap this one up quickly before we go. We'll talk quickly about everything coming up for Rovers Chat. There's a lot coming up. The Rose podcast we've mentioned a couple of times. We are finalists, like I say, in the FCA's graphic up on screen. If you haven't voted for us, go and do so. There's a link down below in the description box. And if you can't go there, and it's just up on the screen for you, the URL is on the screen, www.footballcontentAwards.com/voting. Go and vote there for us and see if you can help us get over the line. Tomorrow night now, or it'll be tomorrow for me. It'll be Wednesday for me. Tomorrow night for you, of course. Deadline day, live from 8:30 p.m. ish, according to Dan. We'll be reviewing the window, updating with any rumours as they come in, and of course Jacob Crook will be there from Lancs Live, and it's always brilliant to see him, of course. But that will just about wrap us up then for tonight. Great stream as always. Absolutely quality to see you all. We'll be back very soon, or I'll be back very soon next week. Same time, same channel for another episode of Breakfast with Rovers Chat. Make sure to join us for the deadline day stream tomorrow night when we will go through all transfers. I don't know if I'll be there, but I'm sure there will be some people here who will have an absolute ball. Deadline day streams are always the best, aren't they? But of course, join whoever is here when they are here, and we will leave you with the sponsorship messages of Blue Rose Capital and 6yardout.com. Bye for now.